If you're still trying to work out how you can make money from the internet by selling digital products online, then this video is really going to help, because I'm now going to give you a 4-step process that you can follow, which will outline exactly what you need to do to get to a point where you can work from anywhere in the world and still make money. So by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what to do, exactly how to set everything up, which traffic methods to use, and how to start creating real online income in your business, and something that you can grow over the next few years and it will just flourish over time. So let's discuss. So the very first thing you need to do is choose your niche. This is where a lot of people really fall down, because I find that a lot of people overcomplicate this part of the process. When it comes to choosing a niche, you need to choose something that A, you either have some good experience already in that niche, or B, you may not know that much at the moment, but you have a strong interest in your particular niche and you aim to learn more about it as time goes on. Now, which direction you go in, that is entirely up to you. That's only something that you can decide. So let's say you play the guitar and you're a fairly good guitar player. You could quite easily create an entire business around playing the guitar, because you can create content and then sell digital products around guitar. But you of course need to be at a standard where you're able to teach other people how to play the guitar. Now, it would be pointless me going into the guitar niche because I've never picked up a guitar in my life. So you can't cheat the system, so to speak. You can't pretend that you know more than you actually know about a particular topic, because people will see right through you. That's not to say that you can't go into a niche that you're not an expert in yet. So if I wanted to go in the guitar niche, I could enter that niche, and over the next few months I will learn everything there is to know about playing the guitar, and I could learn a lot in that time, and I'm sure you could as well. But that's just an example. So if you don't already have skills in a particular topic or niche, don't worry about it. As I always say, this is something that you can learn over time. But choosing your niche is something that you don't want to get too hung up on. That being said though, it's no good you choosing a niche and then spending 3 years creating content only to find out that that niche is a complete waste of time. So there is a little bit of a process that you have to go through. The niche has to be something where there is a decent amount of people looking for that information, and you have to be solving problems in order for it to be a good niche. That being said though, you can be an entertainer as well. You can be an educator or an entertainer. So there are different ways to look at this. You could be a magician, for instance. So although you're not necessarily educating people, you're entertaining them, and you can still create content and still create digital products, even if you're an online magician and you travel around and doing magic tricks. So there's all these different things to think about. But the number one thing that you need to keep in mind is that if you don't know enough about a particular topic or niche at the moment, you can learn as you go. So you don't have to be an expert from day one. As long as you don't pretend that you're an expert, if you only have an average amount of experience or knowledge in that particular field when you go to create your content. Because as I said, people will see right through you. So that's step number one. Choose your niche. Once you've chosen your niche, the next thing to do is step number 2 is create content and distribute that content around the web. So it's a case of going to different platforms, creating your content, and then distributing that content around the internet, around the web. And this is how you create an audience. There's no shortcut here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to pretend that this is going to take you 2 weeks, because it isn't. But also, and equally, it also depends how much effort you put in, because the more content that you distribute and the more and the faster you learn the content creation side of things, the faster you will progress and the faster you will succeed. So if you do 1 video per month, it's going to take you a long time to get anywhere. If you do 1 video every single day, you will learn and work out what works and what doesn't work much faster. So always bear that in mind. So when you're ready, you need to create all of your different platforms on the internet, and I'm talking video platforms. So a good place to start would be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And then you could even create a podcast as well. If the information that you distribute around the web is going to be suitable for a podcast. Because remember, like I just said, if you're an entertainer, if you're someone that does magic tricks, that's not going to be very good, is it? If you create a podcast, because it's not going to make any sense. There's going to be no context, because everything that you say in the podcast, people need to visually see. So being a magician, just for example, a podcast may not be suitable for that type of content. But for most things, podcasts do work quite well. Now, I'll tell you what I do. I create these videos, I distribute them around the web, and then I create a podcast from my videos. So I'm creating more content out of the same one piece of content that I've made. So you just end up leveraging your time much more, and you end up creating loads more content without any extra work. And I've been doing that for a long time, and a lot of other people do that as well. It isn't just me. So bear that in mind. That's something to definitely consider, because it will save you a lot of time in creating specific content just for podcasts, for example. So that was step 2, creating the content, distribute it around the web. Make sure you've got all your profiles set up, all your platforms set up. You can create articles, you can write blog posts, you can have a blog if you want, you can have a main website, build an email list, whatever you want to do, but just get content out there. And this is the stage that I find that a lot of people just lose momentum and lose interest, because this stage is quite tough. It's ruthless, because you have to be wired like a machine in order to push through, because it does get very difficult, especially when you first start out. If you've got no network, no contacts, you've got no one that already knows who you are, no one's listening to what you do, you just have to throw everything out there and see what sticks, and just hit things in volume, in quantity. It's no good if you're first starting out, it's no good you trying to optimize your content in the early stages of your content creation journey. You just need to hit things in volume initially, and that's the honest truth. So get as much content out there as you can, and then even if things do flop, even if some of your content just does terribly, it doesn't matter, because it's a learning experience. You can always learn what works, learn what doesn't, and then you can always use the content that you've made and use it in other areas of the internet. You can even put it on your own website, your own blog. So the content you make is never going to be a waste of time, because you always constantly learn and you can adapt and improve things as you go. So creating content and distributing content is the hardest part. It's ruthless. But if you can get into a little bit of a steady system and have a bit of a content plan in place, you can get into a nice little routine like I am right now. And I find it much easier when you say to yourself, right, I'm going to do 1 YouTube video a week, I'm going to do 2 Facebook posts a week and 2 Instagram posts a week, whatever it may be, whatever suits you. That's not exactly what I do in my own business right now. I do something a little bit different. It's much more simple than that. You just have to find something that works for you. Post as much as you can, but what I like to do is also be realistic. Don't tell yourself that you have to post 15 videos a week, because you have to base everything and work your content strategy out based on what you think you can post every single week if you're having a bad week. So imagine if you're having a really bad week, lots of things going on in your personal life, you don't have much time, things has just been an absolute nightmare. How many videos do you think you could post that week? 1, 2? And that's how I look at things. So think about how many videos or how many pieces of content you can post on a bad week, and use that as your benchmark. Then anything more than that number is going to be a bonus. For me personally, my target per week is 1 good juicy video per week on my YouTube channel. And I've got different targets that I use for my other social network platforms. But YouTube, I do one video per week. And that video, I then create a podcast out of that video. That's what I personally do. I do one video every 7 days, or I try to. Sometimes it's 10 days, sometimes it's 6 days. But it's normally around 7 days on average. So step number 3. So once you've created content and you're in a nice little routine and you're distributing that content around the web on a weekly basis, and you can see things are starting to grow, what you can then do is start building a list of people that are interested in your stuff. Now, you won't be able to do this immediately after you start creating content. It might take you 6 or 12 months. Again, it depends on how much you post and what sort of traction you get from your content. You might just do really well and things might explode within the first 6 months for you. It does happen. Some people just create content and they end up creating a really good audience really quickly. Other people, it might take a bit longer. So that's an impossible thing to really tell you. And that is how long will it take, because it's different from person to person. So what you need to do on step number 3 is build a list of people interested in your stuff. So when I say that, I'm going to give you an example of what I did back in 2012. So this is many years ago now. So what I did at the time, I had been creating small niche websites where I made money from Amazon and Google AdSense. This was back in the day. And I used to create these small websites. I used to write content for them and then put ads on them and put links to Amazon. And that was how I made money. That was how I got to my first $100 per day. That was in about 2011. And at the time, I was part of this online community. It was a forum. This was 2011. And lots of us were trying to do the same thing, build niche sites and all of this. And I was also part of another forum as well. And I quickly realized that there was a lot of interest in people trying to do what I was doing at the time, and that was niche sites, because niche sites back then was really popular. So lots of other people wanted to know how I did it. So what I then done was I created some free videos so I could give them away, and if people wanted those videos, all they had to do was opt into my page and just enter their name and email. And then I would get that person onto my email list, and in return, I would give them some free training. In fact, there was 5 videos that I gave them. And these 5 videos, I taught people some really good basics of building niche sites that made money. I showed people how to do keyword research and all of this, and people absolutely loved it. So that is what I did back in the day to build my first email list. You see, I gave something away for free, which had value, and I then had people on my mailing list. Now, the next step, how I actually made money, and this brings us nicely on to step number 4, because you can use the exact same strategy as what I used. So step number 4 is create and sell a product. So step number 3 was build a list of people interested in your stuff. So when you're ready, you can build a list of people that are interested in your stuff, and you can give away some free information like I did. I gave away some free videos. And then when you're ready to sell something, you've already got people that are interested in your training, in your type of information that you give away. So the way that I made money selling a digital product was those 5 videos that I created to give away for free. Because there was interest in those videos and people liked the information that I was teaching them, I then spent another couple of weeks, a couple of months later, creating a full-blown course, which was training which just gave people more in-depth, advanced training and showed them everything that they needed to do to make money with niche sites. So although the 5 videos that I gave away for free gave people some really good skills, this was like a little bit of a teaser. So anyone that liked those 5 videos, then, or a lot of them, then purchased my main course, which I released about 2 months later. And this is what you can do. So step number 3 is build a list of people that are interested in the content that you give away, that you're giving away for free. So that could be some kind of free report, a free download, whatever it may be. And you do this by sending people from social media over to your own website, a basic page, a basic opt-in page, giving away a free report, free download, free piece of software, video series, boot camp, whatever it may be. And this is what I do. That's step number 3. You're building a list of people interested in what it is that you're giving away for free. And then step number 4 is you do what I did. You create a full-blown course once you have enough people on your mailing list that have opted in to get whatever it is that you're giving away to build your mailing list. Because it's no good you trying to sell a product to people that are out there in cyberspace, because there's no relationship. You have no feedback from the market, from your niche. So the best time to sell something is when you have people that have already told you that they're interested in your information that you're giving away. As long as the course that you create is highly relevant to the free training that you gave away to build your mailing list, then everything's good. You can create a full-blown membership. You could create another digital product. It could be some consulting. It could be a personal one-on-one meetup. It could be one-on-one coaching. There's all different things that you can sell. But the most important thing in this step number 4, when you create and sell a product on the internet, is you need some type of a database of people that have already shown interest. And this is why this is a 4-step system, because you're not going to be able to get people show their interest to you until you've built a little bit of a reputation and you've got some authority and you've built some trust and credibility online in your particular niche. And you can't do that until you create content. You can't create content until you've chosen a niche. You can't choose a niche until you just take action and just start. Yeah. So you just need to make a start today, go through this 4-step process. And as you go through each step, you will quickly realize that this is actually very, very simple. So let's go through that again. So step number 1, choose your niche. As I said, that's very, very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate this. Step number 2, create content and distribute it around the web. Of course, after creating and setting up your platforms and all of your social media accounts. You don't always have to use social media, but social media is a very, very good way of getting content out there, and people can share it and you can build, some really good trust and credibility. Step number 3, build a list of people interested in your stuff, in your information, whatever that may be. You could be a magician. You could be a guitar expert. You could be someone in the health and fitness industry. You could be in the stock market, in the day trading niche. There's all these different markets and niches that you can be part of, but this 4-step system works in anything. So step 1, choosing your niche. Step 2, create your social media accounts and platforms, and then start creating content and then distribute that all over the web. Remember what I said, quantity beats quality initially. So just get as much out there as you can, because this is how you learn the fastest. It's no good trying to make things perfect, because you will make mistakes. Just get stuff out there. And 6 months later, you can sort of reevaluate and see where you are. But you're going to learn so much more by just creating content, and just switch the camera on and just get busy. Step number 3, build a list of people interested in your stuff. So this is your target market. These are your targeted potential customers. These are people that are interested in your information, and they have given you their email and opted into your mailing list because they're interested in the free download that you've promised them. And step number 4 is once you've built a good enough mailing list and you've got a good enough audience, people that know, like, and trust you, then you can think about selling a product. But this is the end goal. This is the end result. You don't want to try and sell something before you've done step 1, 2, and 3, because if you do, it's just not going to work. So I've just given you a 4-step system, and you can implement this system starting today. But if you do want any extra help, just go over to coffeeshopincome.com/bootcamp, and I'm going to be giving you a brand new bootcamp full of training videos that are not available anywhere else, apart from if you download them from the link below. So you can only get them from the link below this video, or go over to coffeeshopincome.com/bootcamp, and this will teach you and help you to build an online income and a business in the next 30 days, so you can start generating sales and profits and digital sales in your business. So that's exactly what you need to do. 4-step process, very, very simple. Of course, you can go through this as many times as you need to. Over the last 10 years of working on the internet in my own business, I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in affiliate sales and millions of dollars in my own product sales. But I've made a lot of mistakes in that time as well. Now, if you go and watch this video above, it will explain to you lots of the do's and don'ts that you need to do when creating a digital product business. So I'm sure you're going to like that video as well. So go and check that out afterwards.